John Harvey of the Virginia Gazette joined me for his first appearance on the Sports Buffet podcast. A lot of first-timers. He talks Jamestown soccer, Grafton Baseball, Poquoson Softball, and more. John Harvey, Virginia Gazette, first of many appearances on the Sports Buffet podcast. Always love to have first-timers on the Sports Buffet podcast. John Harvey, he's a sports editor of the Virginia Gazette. He joins me on the Sports Buffet podcast to talk some postseason action in several sports down in John's area. And John, let's start with boys soccer. You know, Jamestown, you always hear about them as being, they're playing at this time of the year, normally year in, year out. Tell me about this squad that Jamestown has in the boys soccer realm.
Well, this year's squad is another talented bunch led by Coach Bobby O'Brien, who's a former player at the school himself, and now he's coaching. He's done a real good job. This is their fifth straight appearance in the state tournament. They've won the Region 1 title the last 5 years. They have a strong group of seniors that are really stepping to the forefront and playing well for them, led by Bay Rivers District and Region 1 Player of the Year, Patrick Kelly, who has scored 34 goals, which is a school record, breaking the mark set by Kramer Runeker, whose dad used to play with a Super Bowl punter for the San Francisco 49ers, Winston Mathiasen, and Bobby O'Brien himself. They also have a good core group of support, strong forwards as well, and Hunter Hartnett, who's been injured but has recently come back. They also have Dan Geyer, who's kind of the setup guy for them, one of the team leaders in assists, along with Kelly, and sophomore John Cullum, who's really coming into his own and really doing a fine job for them. Defensively, they're led by Drew Friedrichs, who's just an outstanding, he's a rock back there, 4-year starter, and also Phil Geyer, who's Dan's brother, who's also just a real rock back there. And all of those guys are already either going to be playing college soccer next year or hope to play at the club level for their soccer teams there. So,
would you say Jamestown is certainly a situation to where they don't rebuild, they just reload?
Yes, I mean they have a very strong club program here in Williamsburg of Virginia Legacy Soccer. Their coach, Bobby O'Brien, is also very into that program. I believe he's one of the high-ranking coaches there in charge of the program, and they just get them at a very young age, and they just learn the ropes, and they just continue to excel, especially at the high school level too. And Williamsburg is pretty much a hotbed for soccer as well.
And it seems too that Region 1, because they're always matched up with Region 2 in the quarterfinal matchups, you don't really want to be making a trip to Region 2 because normally it can be anywhere from Richmond to northern part of the state. So I take it for Jamestown to keep getting these home games in the state quarterfinal is probably also a big psychological edge when somebody, say, from Briarwoods is having to come down.
Absolutely, yes. Coach Bobby O'Brien says they love playing at home, so they tend to play very well at James City Warner Stadium, and it tends to bring out the best in them. It's a very it's a turf field, very big field, so they're used to playing in front of big crowds out here. I know they've had success on the road as well. I've seen them go all the way. You're talking about travel. I've seen them play at Potomac Falls, which was quite a hike up there, and I also saw the last team that won a state championship played at James Wood High School, which was quite a trek itself. So this team loves to play at home, but they're not scared of playing on the road either, and they know that their goal is to get to Radford, and they want to hopefully hoist that state championship trophy.
Let's hit to the diamond real quick and talk some baseball. Grafton has got a home game. They'll be taking on Monticello down there at York High School on Tuesday. And we've already seen Grafton go far in other sports this year too. Football, I believe they went to the state semis. Basketball, they went all the way to the state finals. Talk about the baseball team though. What makes them special?
Well, they just hit the baseball hard. I mean, their offense is, there's not a weak link in that lineup, to be perfectly honest. Kyrie Washington, who was the Bay Rivers District, and I'm sure he probably was the Region 1 Player of the Year. He was a transfer out of Lynchburg. Is just he can flat out hit the ball. He can hit the ball with power. He can steal bases. He can play in dynamite center field. He's going to Longwood University, and then up and down the lineup, they have C.J. Roth, who's a second baseman that does a great job of moving him over, for the big bats in the middle of the lineup. Blake Ream is a standout pitcher for them. He's probably their age and will probably get the nod on Monday when they play Monticello. They love playing at home. They're undefeated at home this year. However, it's been moved to York High School, but they didn't have a problem playing at York High School in the in the district, in the region semifinals when they laid one on York 11-5. So they can hit the ball. If they're hitting the ball well, I mean, they can beat anybody in the state.
Another team on the diamond, but just with a different little ball, is a softball. Poquoson is going to take on Briarwoods on Tuesday as well. What stands out to you about Poquoson's softball team?
Well, Poquoson, like my editor and I were chatting in the office earlier, they're fundamentally sound. I mean, these girls have been playing organized softball. I mean, they come from a small community. They've been playing on the same team since they were 7, 8 years old. And, that continuity transcends once they get to the state level and the district level and that sort of thing. And their bread and butter is Maggie Tyler. I mean, there's not much you can't say about her. She's a standout pitcher. She's approaching 1,000 career strikeouts, which is phenomenal. She received an offer after her freshman season to go to Virginia Tech, so she's signed, sealed, and delivered there. And she's also can get the job done with the bat this year too. She's leading them, and it seems to come up with the big hits when they need them.
And Virginia Tech, I mean, that's not a Division III softball program we're talking about. That's a program that's really growing too.
Absolutely, and I think she's just going to be. I don't think she's scared of anything up there, and I think she's going to make them even better.
Let's talk about some girls soccer real quick. Two teams from the area making the AA Final 8, Tab and Grafton. What stands out to you about those squads?
Well, it was a very tough district. The Jamestown, Tab, and Grafton. I think the district championship came down to the final week of the season, so they were all very close games, and Tab won a real nail-biter against Jamestown in the semis, which got them over the hump, and to get them into the states. They're a very experienced-laden team. A lot of role in the state championship field hockey team that has just been dominant over the last several years. Bree Jasnick, who's going to play soccer at Middle Tennessee State, is an exceptional midfielder and is very dangerous around the net. Sydney Onweg is also a great midfielder, and they just have so much speed, and their continuity is so great. In terms of Grafton, Morgan Singer is doing a great job offensively, scoring goals in a timely manner for them. I know that they've had some injuries at the end of the season, but they're starting to get healthy again. Kaylin Bly is a real strong player for them, and I have a feeling playing at home is going to do them a lot of good, and they can do some damage here in the state tournament.
Well, it should definitely be a great tournament, and I know Jamestown's tennis teams, the boys and girls, have also had standout seasons as well. Just touch on them a little bit as they made the Final 8.
Well, like the program that with the boys soccer program, the girls and boys tennis have been pretty strong for the last decade or so. Bob Artis does a great job with the boys team. I know that J.J. Wilroy is approaching 70 career wins and is their number one, is doing a phenomenal job. And Sam Ross has been a great number two, and that duo combo is going to be playing in the state semis in terms of later on this week for that, going for a state championship. In terms of the girls, Karen Johnson also does a great job. They, at one point during the 2000s, they won 6 straight state championships, so they've really been, someone to deal with. And at the top, their lineup is strong as well. Leah Walters is a Mid-Atlantic player that's doing well as a junior, and she advanced to the state. She advanced to the regional semifinals where she lost to Victoria Plaska of York, who is a phenomenal player and will most likely be in the running for a state singles championship. Abby Hunt is another great player, playing at number 2. She lost in the finals to Posca at the regional level. And down the line, they've got so much depth in terms of Kathy Sharp and Elizabeth Wallace and that sort of thing. So they're going to be dangerous, and hopefully they'll get a chance to go to Radford.
John, I love putting people on the spot. Final question: if you had your Monopoly money and you were going to bet on one or two to most likely come back with a state championship, just knowing what you know about your squad, who do you like?
I would probably say, I know in boys soccer with Jamestown, they've got the offensive firepower to get it done, but regardless of how much firepower they have, they're going to face a tough team in either Jefferson Forest or Blacksburg, which are both nationally ranked teams in the top 10 by ESPN High School. I know baseball, I think Grafton's going to have a great shot at getting far, and I still think Poquoson is probably the bread and butter. I think they're going to take it down.
John, we will definitely keep that on mind, and if you're right, we will definitely have you back. If you're wrong, we'll still have you back. So it's a no-lose for you in that case.
I appreciate it, sir.
All right, John Harvey on the Sports Buffet Podcast.